Hello everyone, welcome to week 2 of Halloween in August. So I was thinking about what I could do. Like I said, I'm kind of limited because I didn't have a whole lot of Halloween stuff. And so I saw something in a great big version of this on Pinterest, and I thought, well, I'm going to see about creating it in just a little tiny version. And so we're going to be making a little potion book or spell book. And I've done one. I'll show that one in a minute. This one I may do a little bit different. So all I had was this old waffle cone box. I don't even know when I got it because it was empty. But anyway, so I cut some pieces off of here. And then I cut one at 5 inches. Yeah. Yes, 5 inches by 2 and 7, nope. 2 and 3/8. Anyway, so 5 inches, and all I did was take my little score tool here, and since it was 5 inches long, I wanted to create this little spine for the book. So I scored it at 2 and 7/8 and 2 and 5/8. So basically, it's the little line. Sorry, I didn't know if I don't mean to be off camera here. It's the little line before and after 2.5. So we just scored that down there. And we're going to go ahead and start working on the outside of it first before we work on the inside. And obviously I went ahead and did my little score lines. Like so. Make sure we got a good fold on those. And then we're going to paint it. Now, I'm going to paint this a few different colors. I'm going to use some titanium black and some burnt umber. I want to kind of give it a brown look, a dark brown look, and I'm also going to be using some copper. And maybe on this one, I may be using black shimmer from my metallic lusters. So I haven't really decided yet, but I'm just going to mix these colors right here, the titanium black and the brown, and get a little color going on here. Now you'll have to probably paint a couple of little coats on the slicky side, and I'm just going to do that first, because you can see through it. But once you get your initial coat on there and it dries, you can paint over it one more time, because we're going to be doing some other things to it. So, and forgive my hands because, oh, they're messy. We're also going to paint the inside, which it won't take but one coat for that. I'm just going to go in these creases. And stand by with the baby wipes because your hands will get messy. So I apologize, my hands seem messy because they are. But I've been having fun with this. Okay, so I'm just going to set it down, wipe my edges down. I'm going to set it down like that. And we're going to take a baby wipe, wipe our paintbrush so it doesn't get hard. And we're just going to let that dry for a little bit. And while we're doing that, we're going to work on the inside of our books. Now, I had some strips of paper left over from another project that I was working on last week for a Christmas thing. And so, we're going to use that. Like I said, the inside of our book, the width of it is 5 inches long, and the depth of it is 2 7/8. So we're going to cut that down to about 2 5/8. So I just have some paper stacked here, and we're just going to cut it down, and then we'll just measure it by our book and see if it's right. I'm just trying to get it even. And this is just typing paper, like I said, I had left over from another project. Big scraps, so you want to make sure you save your scraps. And I'm just measuring it right here. I think that's still a little long, so I'm going to cut just a little bit more off of it. Oops. About another 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And then we're going to cut this at 4 3/4. So we're just going to make our strips 4 3/4 long. And then we're done with that. And then we're going to take, where's my little thing right here? We're going to take this and we're going to ink up our pages so they're not white. I'm going to do one and then I'm going to do the rest of them off camera and then I'll be back. So I'm just using some vintage photo and one of my little clothespin daubers here. And it really doesn't matter if the paper gets wrinkled a little bit or you're wanting it to look old. And so I'm just going in here and knocking the white off of it. Whoops. I am trying to hold it down a little bit, obviously, but not doing too well there. So we're going to do this to every one of our little pages. And then we're going to fold them in half. And set them aside. So I'm going to get the rest of these done, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I finished inking the pages up, and I'm just going over my little cover with some more of the burnt umber. And then that get dry before we move on to finish the papers. Now see, the underside doesn't really need anything, but I am going to add just a touch of brown in here. Okay. And there's still a few little pieces on here that you can see, but you won't be able to when we get done. Okay, set that back out of the way. And let me show you how I'm going to bind these papers together. Okay, so I have all of them inked. And basically, I'm just going to open them up. I'm just using a little bit of Elmer's glue in the little stick, pen. In the pen, I am running a little bit of glue right down the center of this. And then I'm sticking my paper in the fold. Whoops. Like that. Closing it up. Making sure the pages are even. But it doesn't really matter about that either, because we're just trying to imitate an old book. And then I'm just going to go down the line again. And line up our line up our fold line. I'm going to fold it again. Whoops. Okay. And then we're just going to line up another one. crease that down and fold that up. Now I'm going to let those pages dry before we stick them in our book. And now we're going to finish working on our book cover. Okay, so now that this is dry and we're going to work on here, we're going to take a glue gun. I know this is going to look weird. Try to get all the glue hair off of it. But if you don't, that just adds to character. We're going to put some corners on here, and we're just going to use our glue gun to put some corners, raised edges. On the corner of the book, like so. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We don't want it to be like really perfect. And if it's crooked, that's cool. Like the witch's crooked fingers. Get another glue stick. And then I'm just going to add some like little texture marks in here with it. Really fine lines. Not anything really big. Okay. And then we need to let that harden up. Okay, so this is hardened up, and I didn't do the inside, but this is hardened up. So now I'm going to take some copper, bright copper, and we will tone it down, but I'm going to put some bright copper just on the raised areas, and I'm going to use my fingers for that. Just going to dab a little bit on, and it'll get onto some of the others, but that's okay. Mostly we're just going to go over the little raised areas. I mean, I noticed this probably takes a few minutes, but it is so cute. And we're just going to rub a little bit in. Now on the part we're going to rub in, because we're going to go back over this and knock down some of that bright coppery Kelly look, cut a look off of it. We mostly just want it onto the hot glue. And if you have glue strings, that's okay too. Kind of looks like spider webs to me. And I just put it right on over it. Okay, now we need to let that dry just a bit. Keep a wipe handy for your fingers. We're going to let this dry for a few minutes, and then we'll finish it up. While that's drying, we're going to make us a little book label for our book, you know, like a title thing. And this is just a piece of, I don't know, half an inch or something like that. Strip of paper. It was just a scrap I had. So I am going to paint this with a little bit of the burnt umber. Actually, I could probably get enough off the bottle. I've been having a lot of fun with these little mini books. I just think they're great little pieces of decor you can stick around, or, you know, and some little decorations or some vignettes or something. And they're mini. Now you can do this with large books, just taking a book or something like that and decorating the jacket of it and aging the pages. But I just wanted something mini. And this doesn't take but a second to dry. So I am going to take some silver metallic luster. This is supposed to be black shimmer, but to me it has always looked silver. And I'm just going to go over this. And this dries almost immediately. But I'm going to take my BB wipe and I'm just going to wipe some of it off. So that we can see some of the brown underneath it. There we go. So it looks a little bit aged and everything. Okay. Put that to the side. And then I'm going to take my Memento ink and I'm going to edge the sides of it. Whoops. If I can hold my ink pad. Okay. And we're going to let that dry just for a minute. We're going to bring this back over here. And I'm going to take my brush with some burnt umber and go over some of the shinies to knock it down. The part that's not covered by the glue. Now you notice I'm wiping off most of the paint. So I'm just knocking back some of that gold, that coppery look. And trying not to touch the corners. Just all adding to the weathered look of it. I may even mix a little titanium black, just a tiny bit in there with that. And this is heavy-bodied acrylic. Okay, we are going to let this dry, and when it dries, we'll come back and finish it up. Okay, we're all dried up, so we're going to take this little thing we made, and I'm using a permanent black marker, and I think I'm going to write potions on this one. If I spell it right. Okay, potions. Just let that stay there for a second so it doesn't smear. Okay, so before I finish the cover, we're going to go ahead and do her book. Now, you can do your book one or two ways. You can use some linen and stitch it in. You can staple it in if you want to. I did not want to staple mine in. So, I have my little pages here. They're all glued in. I am simply going to stick mine in the way that I glued my other ones in. And I'm just going to put some glue down the middle of the spine. Well, I want this to go back on. Okay. And I'm going to close it up a little bit. And I'm going to stick this right down the middle. And hold it shut. And let it stay there for a second. So I'm going to take my little tooth here and hold it down. Just run it down there just to push it down into the spine. Since it's really not going to be a real book per se, I mean, I guess you could write in it if you want to. We're just letting that glue hold onto there for a second. Then we're going to take our little potion sign. Now, I don't write the best pretty much on some of this stuff, but you know, it works. And just put some glue on the back of it. And glue this to the front. Alright. And what I did, threw my paper away. What I did on my other one, and I'll show you just a second, is that I just put little drops of blood coming down it. So I just squeezed a little bit of red titanium. No, this crimson. Yeah, crimson red. And I just took my little tool here. Whoops. Should probably wait till that dries. And I just dipped my little pointer thing in it. And I just dabbed some blood dots on there. Kind of gross, but kind of cool for Halloween, you know. Like